Don't you wish difficult people came with a sign? Unfortunately, they don't. In fact, difficult people comprise about 10% of the population, yet they're responsible for more than 50% of the relational challenges that you and I face in our life, at our homes, and in our work. Welcome to Dealing with Difficult People. Have you ever been around people who, when faced with a challenging situation or a difficult circumstance, they seem to have the ability to diffuse the situation and just bring out the best in people? It's as though they know just what to say as well as how to say it and when to say nothing at all. Then there are those people who seem to just be looking for a fight. It's as though they have the ability to rub people the wrong way and say the wrong things, and they manage to bring out the worst in people. When it comes to dealing with difficult people and personalities, there are many variables to consider, including the people, the situation, and even the perceived authority of those involved. The reality is that unless you and I are prepared in advance for these challenges, we will always react the way we have reacted to these circumstances and achieve the results we've always achieved. As you know, this can bring to mind an age-old question. What's the definition of insanity? Yeah, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Do you sometimes feel as though some of the people you work with, live with, or interact with are just driving you crazy? Now, before you're quick to answer that, perhaps you've heard that no one can make you feel a certain way unless you give them permission. Now, on the surface, this is true. At the same time, a steady diet of negative and difficult people can use up a lot of your time and energy. So as we explore difficult people and personalities, I want you to think about how you currently react to those people and those challenging situations. And then think about how you'd like to feel, think, and respond in future situations. You see, responding is different than reacting. When you respond, you've prepared in advance the outcome in your mind. You may have heard Stephen Covey call this beginning with the end in mind. What is your end in mind? What outcomes would you like to see? Would you like to get a grip on your own anger and other strong emotions, maybe tears? Or perhaps you'd like to be more assertive. Maybe you'd like to diffuse a volatile situation before it occurs, or have the confidence to speak up as well as the wisdom to know when to quiet down. For our time together, we'll explore these very questions, and more importantly, I will provide you with solutions that work. Now, you may have read books or tried other programs dealing with difficult people, perhaps in the past. I have. And the biggest problem with them is they usually tell you how to respond from a type B or more passive response. Now, there's nothing wrong with being passive if the techniques you're applying actually work with the person you're applying them to. The problem comes in when you implement a technique and it either doesn't work or it diffuses the other person, they walk away feeling good, and you're stuck with all their leftover anger and other strong emotions. Now, what are you supposed to do with all of that? My commitment to you is to give you some time-tested, proven techniques that I know from experience will work for you. So let's set some learning objectives. At the conclusion of these modules, you will have learned how to effectively pinpoint challenging people and triggering situations, recognize how culture and personality influence your reactions to difficult people, map out and implement healthy conflict resolution strategies, discover what to do and say to de-escalate volatile situations, and become more assertive when dealing with difficult people. Here's a quick overview of each module, beginning with pinpointing your triggers with challenging people and situations. During this first module, I'm going to ask you a few questions to determine what types of people and triggering events push your hot buttons. This will allow you to see where you're at right now, because as you probably know, before you can make effective changes, you must know and acknowledge these triggers. As you follow along in this program, jot down some notes, including your triggers, along with the triggers of those people and circumstances that seem most volatile in your life. We'll then move to Module 2, where you'll identify how culture, upbringing, and personality have formed your perceptions and reactions to challenging people and situations. Once we've established your starting point and how these influences that you've grown up with have shaped your current reactions, I'll walk you through how you can choose which reactions to keep in your life and which ones to replace. In Module 3, we'll identify strategies and techniques for diffusing difficult people and challenging situations. I'm going to give you some examples and some steps for replacing old reactions with new responses, along with the secret to establishing lifelong change. Module 4, you'll discover what to do and say to de-escalate volatile situations. I'm going to give you techniques to bring out the best in people rather than the worst in even the most problematic people. Another technique to help you lower the defenses during a confrontation, and even a technique to help you stand up to bullies and intimidating people. And I'll help you determine when to stand your ground, when to walk away, and when to run. All right, for our first section, be ready to take some notes as we jump in.